So, sales of recreational marijuana are off to a booming start in Illinois. For more on the economic and social implications of the new rules, I'm joined by Andy Seeger, the Cannabis Research Manager at Brightfield Group in Chicago. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
So as we look at some of these highlights from this first week of sales in Illinois, how does that response compare to what we've seen from other states that have recently legalized in a similar manner?
I think, like Dan said, we have to be surprised by the large amount of demand. This is up there with the top rollouts that we've seen in other states. The new numbers released today are 10.8 million as of the last 5 days, or the first 5 days of legalization. The first week of legalization in Oregon was about 11 million, so Illinois still has 2 days to outpass that. California had a little bit more of a gray market as it started to become legal, so those numbers were a little more outpaced, but this is a very large, robust amount of demand.
And what about the government in Illinois itself? How is revenue going to be affected there, and what do we know about how they'll be using it?
How consumers will be using it?
How the state will be using the funds that are coming in from marijuana.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, the state has set up a framework for how the tax collection will be used. So 35% will go to the general fund. Another quarter will be used to supplement small and minority business owners within the industry. And the collection of the rest of it will be used for law enforcement education, public education, paying down the state debt, and another number of other things.
Now, what about marijuana-related convictions? What do we know about what might happen with those?
Yes, so Illinois' bill has been heralded as the gold standard of social justice. It has a long way to go, but it is a very good bill in terms of what's out there now. Our new governor, J.B. Pritzker, expunged the records of 11,000 people this past weekend. There's another 800,000 potentially out there with low-level possession convictions that could be expunged. There's a process in place in which the amounts and how that varies go before different processes, and those convictions can be overturned.
So then also looking at some of the profiles of some of these shops, what kind of shops are popping up now, and how are they being received by their communities?
Yeah, the shops right now are mostly medical in nature, given that medical shops were given the first crack at the licensing and opening on Jan 1. So these are really medical shops that have opened up for adult use sales. Some communities have banned the operation of such retail establishments within their jurisdictions, as is their right under state law. Others have embraced them and asked for them and clamored for them. Some of them, where there currently is no dispensary now, are certainly asking for that revenue to be placed in their jurisdictions.
So for those that do have concerns about this, what are those concerns, and especially when you consider the largest city, Chicago?
Yeah, I think the concerns are increased patient access, the high supply or the high prices, the low amount of supply, or just some regular concerns we're seeing around here. Otherwise, communities do have concerns about what kind of business comes in. There are communities that want the tax revenues. There are other communities that say they don't want to deal with any of it and don't want to invite in a certain element that they believe comes with the industry. It's going to be up to the locality to depend on what they want to do.
Now, when this was still considered illegal, even at the state level, when it comes to recreation, why are we seeing such a distinct lack of minority ownership when it comes to cannabis companies? And how did it happen that they essentially didn't get that same start?
Yeah, a lot of this is based on, Illinois was a very, very fast rollout. Illinois went from no medical marijuana at all to fully legalized adult use marijuana in 10 years, one of the shortest time spans. We rolled out the law last year, and this was very much an advanced timeline. So the first crack at all these dispensary openings were the medical establishments that have a track record of compliance. They have the track and trace systems already in place, so they are ready to go at day one. Later on this summer should open up another 75 dispensaries. Those are the ones that are being given some slots to minority and small business owners. So we should see more involvement by then. But as of right now, it's really that large businesses were already on the ground ready to do this on Jan 1.
Now, obviously, as it stands, still federally illegal. There's been a number of acts proposed, including the Safe Banking Act that was put forth to help marijuana businesses. Not too much optimism on that. And then also the proposed Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, also known as the MORE Act. How close are we in reality to actually having federally decriminalized marijuana?
We're pretty far away. A rescheduling under the FDA for marijuana would take on average of 9 years. Descheduling completely through congressional approval would take another couple of years if we get cooperation from both legislatures and a friendly president. So it could take a number of years still, but we're more likely to see more of these triggering events. Like you said, the Safe Banking Act, the States Act that would respect states' rights, further triggering events that reduce that risk and allow companies to say, now is the time that we can get involved.
All right, thank you so much, Andy Seeger there, the Cannabis Research Manager at Brightfield Group.